welcome to section 10.2, rational exponents. Hopefully by the end of this you all will be able to evaluate expressions containing rational exponents and use exponent rules to simplify expressions. So let's talk about rational exponents. So all of these roots we've been talking about, you can actually write them as rational exponents. They're going to look like fractions. So if you have the nth root of a, then you can rewrite it as a to the 1 over n. So basically that denominator is what kind of root you have. And also, if m and n are positive integers, with it being in lowest terms, so we're going to reduce our fractions, then a to the m over n would be a to the 1 over n raised to the nth power, which basically means that you can do the nth root, that's the denominator of the fraction, and then it's raised to that m power. So the top number, the numerator, is your exponent, and the bottom number, the denominator, is the type of root that you have. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with rational exponents. I'm going to rewrite those as roots, and then we can evaluate them. So my first one that I have, an example 1, is 32 raised to the 1/5 power. So the numerator is 1, so my exponent is just to the first. The denominator is 5, so I can rewrite this as the 5th root of 32. And now that I know that it's the 5th root of 32, I can go ahead and evaluate that. So I'm thinking, what raised to the 5th power equals 32? And you may know this one, or maybe able to guess it, that it's 2. But if you can't, you can always break this apart. 32 would be 8 times 4. 8 is 4 times 2, and 4 is 2 times 2, and 4 is 2 times 2. So what you have is a group of 5 2's. And so 5 2's means that this is actually 2 to the 5th to get to 32. So the 5th root of 32 then would be 2. All right, let's try another one. I've got negative 64. You'll notice it's in parentheses, so the whole thing is getting raised to the 1/3 power. Since it's in parentheses, that negative 64 is going to go under my radical. And then it's raised to the 1st power, so there's my exponent. The denominator is a 3, which means that we have a cube root, not a square root. Okay? So if it's a 2, it's a square root. A 3, it's a cube root. A 4, it's a 4th root. A 5, it's a 5th root, and so on. Okay? So we've got the cube root of 64. All right. So negative times a negative times a negative does equal a negative. So this is possible. It is going to be a real number. It's just going to be a negative number when we get there. Okay? Then you want to say, what to the 3rd power is 64? And some of you guys may know this, but some of you may not. If you don't, you can always break it apart. Okay? So I'm just going to do that over to the side. 64, you might know that's 8 times 8. And let's see, 8 is 4 times 2, and 4 is 2 times 2. So what we end up with is 6 2's. It's a cube root, so we're looking for groups of 3. So I can take a group of 3 2's, and I can do it twice. And so what we're doing is we're going to take out a 2, we're going to take out another 2, and when you take out more than one thing, we just multiply them together, okay? So we're going to have 2 times 2, which would be 4. So it's actually 4 to the 3rd power, and you can even double check this. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. And negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 gives you negative 64, which is exactly what we're looking for. Okay? Let's see. The next one, the numerator is not 1, so that's exciting. We've got 25 raised to the 3/2 power. So what we're going to do is the 2 on the bottom means that it's the square root of 25. The 3 on top means that it's getting raised to an exponent of 3. Technically, it doesn't matter which order you do them in. We just need to do both. But I would encourage you to do the root first. It makes sure that you don't have anything imaginary or not real. But it also gives you smaller numbers, and I think is a little bit easier for your mental math, okay? So we're doing the square root of 25, which you might know is 5. And then we're going to raise that to the 3rd power. So 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. And there's our evaluated answer for that one, okay? Last one in part D is negative 16 to the 3 halves. You'll notice this time the negative is not in the parentheses. So what we're doing is we're doing 16 to the 3 halves first, and then we're going to take the opposite of that value. So remember that exponents come before multiplication when you're doing order of operations. So we're actually going to do this part first, and then we'll take the opposite of it or multiply it by -1 second. So let's see, the bottom number is a 2, which means that we have a square root. We've got a square root of 16. The numerator is a 3, so we are raising it to the 3rd power, and then once we do all of this, we will take the opposite of whatever we get. All right, so the square root of 16 is 4, and then we're going to do 4 to the 3rd, and again, we'll do the opposite of it at the end. 4 to the 3rd is 64. We did that one in part B. And then that negative on the outside means that we'll have a negative 64 as an answer. Now it's your all's turn. You get to try one and show me how much you've learned.